How do I start my own business?
Being my own brand would be totally legit.
I want to be the next Gary Vee.
My dream is to be on Shark Tank.
I'm just gonna Google it.
I mean, I'm awesome at social media. What could go wrong?
Oh my God.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Learning Curves. It's Kelly here, and today I'm here with my good friend Ryan Cantrell from Trendsetter Homes, and I'm so excited to have him here on the show. He traveled here all the way from Missouri to come visit my agency this week, and we've been having a really great time, and I told him, hey, we need to get on the podcast and have a conversation because there's a lot of great things that I think that my listeners are going to want to learn from you today, Ryan. So thank you so much for joining me.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me, and it wasn't very hard to leave 8-degree weather.
I bet.
And I'm from Springfield, Missouri, and I called back this morning, and they are giving me a hard time that I'm here where it's 72 degrees and sunny.
Yes.
And so I'm glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Oh, you're very welcome. We're having a good time having you here with us. So, Ryan, I wanted to have you talk to my audience a bit about your journey through home building and tell me a little bit about who you are and what you do, first of all.
So I started 20 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I started with my mom, and she
Your
had
mom?
Yep.
That's cool.
She just recently got into home building.
I love it.
Yep.
Women power.
Yeah, and so I had moved back from going to college, and she said, "Hey, I'd like to teach you how to build." I built one house with her, learned a lot about it, but also realized that I liked having a mom more than I liked having her as a business partner. And so the next year, my dad, he had just developed a subdivision and said, "Hey, I'll work with you." And so I built 2 houses the second year.
So were your mom and dad?
They just recently divorced.
Okay.
2 years. So I started in 2002, and they divorced in 2000 and kind of gone their separate ways. The family had owned some land where we developed it, and it opened up in 2002. And so my mom, that first year, I did that with her and realized that would not make a good partnership. And I
could have the right chemistry
I
going
enjoyed,
on.
I liked her being my mom.
Right.
And so with my dad, little bit different personality dynamic there. And he was more in the back seat and kind of let me run with it. He made sure that all the bills were paid on time, and but I quickly realized that he is moved at a much slower pace, much more conservative, was not a risk taker, and so I felt like I was about to starve to death. And so I.
How many homes were you building back then? when you were with
2 year, and he wouldn't start another one until we sold and closed, and so then we went to the next year. I think we did 3. And I'm a bit of a social butterfly, so I'd be out with friends talking and truthfully complaining about how slow we're going. I was starving to death, and so friends were like, "Well, what if I got a loan for you?" And so before long, I had a group of people that they went out and got the loan. I guaranteed that I would give them the first $5,000,
Right.
and so they would get a return on that, and then I would keep the rest of the profit. And so I kind of built my relationship with banks over that time. And so fast forward 20 years later, and here we are. I started out as Cantrell's Patriot Homes. Thought that after 15 years of being very lean, only having 3 people in the office and 2 people out in the field doing 100 homes a year.
That's all you had?
That's all we had. We made
With 100 homes a year?
We made it through the recession. We were building entry-level homes.
That's impressive, Ryan.
Well, we worked ourselves to death.
I bet.
And I was burnt out. Everybody else was burnt out. I had built some rental homes in the meantime, and I said, I don't want to build anymore. I don't want to do this. We're working ourselves to death. I've got enough rental properties. We're just going to manage rental properties. And so we shut the building business down. I quickly realized once I spent a year in the property management and got it running really well that God did not design me for the golf course and retirement at this age. And so because that was my passion, I decided that I wanted to get back into it, and I wanted to do it a different way, though, and I wanted to start and set it up to where we weren't running ourselves ragged. And so I came back as Cantrell Homes because I didn't want people to think that I had ran from Cantrell's Patriot Homes for any reason.
Right.
But then through the help of a consultant, we rebranded to what I am today as Trendsetter Homes.
I love your brand, by the way.
Thank you.
They did a really great job. Your logo and everything's really great, and I love the name also. I think you could do a lot with that.
Well, I appreciate it. I would tell you that investing in professional consultants along the way in the last 3 years has taught me more than I ever knew in the past 17 years in home building. And so a lot of that comes from a lot of good guidance.
Right. I think that's so smart that you do that you invest in different consultants. Can you talk a little bit about some of the consultants that you've worked with and how they've helped you grow your business?
So when I came back as Cantrell Homes, I knew that I wanted to do things different than I had done in the past. I knew that I really wanted to take on. We're in a very small market, but I knew that I wanted to take on more of like what a national builder feels like. Mm-hmm. I knew that I wanted to take control of my sales and get those away from the realtor to where I was building my brand and building my market. And when people came in to work, they were working all day selling Trendsetter Homes, and I wasn't just a percentage of that. We love realtors. We do a lot for realtor outreach, but I needed to be in control of building my brand. And so I knew that I didn't know how to do it. And so I felt like sales was the first place to start.
Right.
And so found a really good sales consultant who I happened to hear at a little mini conference, just bought into everything that he said. We got together and worked together for a period of 2 years. Taught me, again, more than I'd ever known in the previous 15 years. Learned so much from him, and he's become a really dear friend. At the end of that 2 years, we decided that we wanted to go a different direction. And
What I want to just go back to that. What are give us a couple of things you learned from him?
Yeah.
Like, what are some of your takeaways from that consultant?
Let's see, what are the model home and having a process by which you take people through the buying experience.
Right.
And so it's not just walking through a house and pointing out features and benefits, but it's talking about macro, and it's talking about the community, and it's talking about the city, it's talking about what this neighborhood gives the home buyer more than just the home. So we learned that there's start at point A, take them all the way through the process to the close, not just walk in and show them a house and then show them 15 other houses and let them make a decision.
Right, because they're not just buying a home.
That's right.
They're buying a lifestyle.
Yep, that is exactly right.
Yeah, so you have to sell the lifestyle.
Yep.
I love that.
And so that's a big thing that I learned. That we could have several podcasts on all the things that I learned from him. But I would say that that was something that was really important. Just how to train our in-house salespeople on how to take people through the buying process. So our mission is a seamless path to new home ownership, and he really taught us, and we believe that everything that we do is to create a seamless path to new home ownership.
I love that. And then did he also help you? I know I've worked with a lot of builders, and there are builders all over the nation that kind of the smaller ones, they have that setup where they have realtors that are selling for them. And so I know there's some benefits to it, but there's probably, as you want to grow, more of a benefit to having your own people.
So for the 15 years, I had the same agent. She's awesome. She is with a local real estate company. Now I don't know if I can plug them or not, but
you can plug whoever. Yeah, they were great.
Keller Williams
Absolutely.
in Springfield, Missouri. Absolutely like family to me. I love them. I still use Stacy for all of our resales. We have a wonderful relationship. We are very much pro realtor, and we involve them in a lot of things. We want to pour back into our community and have a good relationship with them. really the difference is that I
Smart.
wanted to take control of my brand. And so I wanted to spend my budget, if you will, on sales and marketing and really work on building and promoting our brand. And so we at the time, we sat down with her and said, hey, this is the direction that we want to go, and we want to keep you involved in this, and we want Keller Williams to really remain an important part of what we do moving forward. And so,
Well, I think that's really smart that you do that, because I think a lot of builders, they think, well, I can save money by going in this direction by just having the realtor, be their salesperson. But what happens is they you can't scale that way. And a lot of times then you also lose on the marketing side of things too. And a lot of builders don't realize the importance of marketing and why you should be doing that. And it's just a lot of focus on the sales side. So a lot of those other things get lost, and therefore they just find themselves kind of not really moving or going anywhere. It's just the same thing year after year after year, and they don't have any of that growth.
Yep, and I will I'll let your listeners in on a little secret. Anybody that might be thinking about going in-house, you do not save money. My line item on the P&L is more. I'm spending more now than I ever was just paying a listing agent.
Right.
But
you're doing it because
that's right.
You want to scale your company.
That's correct. And so we felt like it was a necessary step to be able to move beyond Springfield. We had to be able to start taking some of those dollars and putting them towards marketing.
Right. Because your employees are part of your brand.
Yep.
And if you move to another city and there's a whole nother real estate company that you're working with, that's their brand that they work for. So they're just basically selling you, but they're representing, like you said, Keller Williams is the brand, not Trendsetters.
That's exactly right. And one of the things that we did with part of our budget to really work on creating an environment that we can take and duplicate into other cities is we hired an event planner full time. So it's part of our she comes out of the sales and marketing budget, but it is for creating a culture and an environment for not only our employees, but for the realtors in the community, for our trade base. And so we have a very sizable budget that we spend on and a person who's dedicated on really focusing on culture. Now the whole team focuses on it, but we've put her in charge and said, this is the money that you get to just go play with.
Wow, how fun.
Yeah.
I know when I was out to dinner with you, and we have Ashlyn, Trendsetter's marketing director, here in the room with us today, and we were talking about the whole realtor experience and what you do for them and how you spoil them. I think I loved hearing that. I loved hearing that last night, because a lot of things I'm hearing recently, especially in this market right now, is unfortunately, I think builders get a little, fat and happy or whatever the situation is, and they tend to push the realtors away and don't treat them the same way, especially when things are going really good. It's like, we don't need you right now. And that doesn't leave a good impression with a lot of realtors. I don't think that's the right thing to do. I think you should always remember the people that take care of you, the people that bring you business. Even in good times, you still should treat them that way.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I loved hearing that Trendsetter Homes is really, even though you're selling, you can't keep a hold of homes either. As soon as you build them, they're sold, but you're still taking care of the realtors in your market. So can you tell me a little bit about what you're doing for them right now?
Yeah, so
I loved hearing that.
I want to back up, maybe go down a little bit different path to get there.
Okay.
And just talk to you real briefly about why. I feel from the bottom of my heart I've been so blessed with what I've been given. And for so many years it was work hard, work hard. And I'm getting to a place in my life to where it's, what's my purpose? Why am I here? And one of the things that I feel like that I've been uniquely blessed with is a very generous heart, but it's not just financially. It's with wanting to just give back and pour into people. I've learned a lot of hard lessons. And so one of the things that we wanted to do this year was just give back to the realtor community. And with no strings attached, we pick some people that have sold some of our homes, some people that haven't and may never sell our homes. but they're young leaders in the industry in Springfield that we feel like are going to be the future leaders in the real estate industry. And while they are learning all kinds of great things in different environments about how to write contracts, how to sell more houses, how to be good real estate agents, sometimes some of the things about business get missed. And so we wanted to take a group of 13 realtors that were either referred by their broker or from their peers and pour back into them over the next year by just taking them on a leadership journey and trying to teach them some of the things that I've learned. No strings attached. This is not about trying to get business. It's just saying we recognize you're the future of Springfield, and we want to give you a hand.
I love that. And they're never going to forget that either. They're never going to forget the value that you gave them and that education to learn those things that they can't necessarily learn in the training that they're getting through their company. Because you had mentioned there was a couple different types of training that you're going to provide them with financial training and some other things. I just thought it was great.
And I think that there may be some training within a brokerages. I don't know that it's necessarily the same as what I know that one of the things that we want to do is just help with some basics of, hey, this is how you set up an LLC. This is how you kind of start to have a business. This is the type of questions you should ask when you talk to an attorney to set this up for a CPA. This is how you set up, books to where you have legitimate expenses. And the other thing, there are lots of realtors that understand these things, but the group of the realtors that we've picked are in their young 20s, and they've maybe only been a realtor for a few months.
Yeah, well,
and
most your average business owner doesn't understand a lot of those things. So I knew as a young business owner, I had no idea about any of that stuff. I had to figure it all out.
and then I think one of the other things that's really important that gets overlooked is when your life is commission, when your income is commission, and it's feast or famine.
Yeah.
You may not know how to properly budget, and so one of the things that we're going to do is we're going to take them through a little bit of Dave Ramsey's financial piece with learning how to specifically budget on a commission to set yourself up for greatness in the future.
I love that.
So we've got a couple of books, a couple of fun events in there. We're going to do a photo shoot one day. It may turn into a fun video.
Video. We talked about doing the video with
Yep.
them. Yep. They can create a branding video and help them sell themselves.
They're all. We decided that we would start with 13, and then if it goes well, I hope that it grows, and I hope that some of those stay and then become mentors. Also, I think that would be really cool.
Yeah. And it's nice that you're starting with a smaller number coming through a program like that, because they can have that more of an intimate experience and they'll get more value out of it than if you had like 75 at the same time. And then you could really nurture them, get to know them. And you're just doing it, because you're giving back. But at the same time, you're going to have some very loyal realtors that are always going to remember you and probably bring you a ton of business.
That may be true, but that is certainly not the motivation.
Right. No, I know.
Not the motivation behind it. And I wanted to start with a small number because I wanted to be very intentional, and I didn't want it to feel robotic. I wanted to be able to take time to spend with each individual person if it was needed, as they have questions and as we work through some of this. And so we've got a lot of really cool things that are coming up over the next year. I'm excited to get to the end of the year and get feedback and grow from it.
Yeah, I loved it.
At CEA Marketing, we take your business, your passion, and your why, and we sell it. If you're unsure where to start marketing your company, CEA Marketing is here to help. Our team at CEA has tons of experience and top-notch training, which helps you take all the stress and confusion out of marketing your own business. After years of working with large companies like Pulte Homes, the Outback Bowl, and Metro Places, we guarantee the successful implementation of a marketing strategy.
So along with the realtors and how you're spoiling them and doing wonderful things for them, which I love to hear that, you also told me last night about some things that you are doing for your trades.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
and Ashton
Yeah.
was talking about some of the things that you all were giving them and how they were excited about that. Because I think a lot of those trades get ignored too. It's like, hurry up and get my job done. But we forget sometimes to thank them,
Yep.
for all the stuff that they do and all the things that they have to go through.
Yes, so
Especially during these times right now, which is very stressful for a lot of companies.
I'm going to tell on myself a little bit here, and I would tell you that I didn't always treat trades the best. I treated them like I was the customer, like I was entitled, like they worked for me, and if it wasn't for me, they wouldn't have anything. And it's just absolutely wrong. So, but it is rampant. It is the way that our industry works a lot of the time, and so just through a lot of personal growth, I realized that that's not who I am as a person. It's not how I want to treat people, and so we have really begun to go on a journey of treating them like true trade partners and like they're the customer. And so we've created a little trade committee and working along with our event planner, and we've got lots of really awesome events planned for the trades throughout the year. One of the things that we do on the first Tuesday and Wednesday of every month, we've got two separate communities. We either provide breakfast or lunch for first Tuesday and Wednesday, in one community and another day in the other community for whoever wants to show up. And it's just a time to say, hey, we appreciate what you're doing, and thanks for being a good partner. That also, I think that if you can't get the job supplies there on time and the job's not ready for a trade when he shows up, because that's really the most important thing, free breakfast doesn't matter.
Right.
So we have to do the fundamentals right, and we've got to be good and solid and make sure that what they need to do their job, be able to go home happy at the end of the day. And then these other things are just a way of just saying, hey, we really appreciate you. We, for Christmas, we had beanies made, and so
Love that.
the group of 4 on the committee took beanies to all the trades, and not the owners, but the guys out in the field that are actually doing the work, and gave them some Christmas crack.
I bet they love that.
So, some popcorn and melted white chocolate over everything with M&Ms, and they loved it. And we've had people coming in asking, hey, I didn't get my beanie. Can I have a beanie? And so,
Then they're all walking around with your brand on them as they're working. That's really neat.
Yep.
Are you seeing an issue where it's hard to find trades right now because everybody's so busy?
Last year, yes. We have become so laser focused on how we want to take care of everybody. I'm not going to tell you that it's easy, but we're starting to see some loyalty and people recognizing and hearing what we're doing. And I think that over the course of the next year, our goal really is to become the builder of choice with the trades, to where we've got people coming and saying, hey, I don't want to work over here anymore. I see what you guys are doing, and it's so different. We want to be a part of whatever this is.
Yeah, and also for them to work hard to, get your jobs done, because I see like in the Tampa area, like they're having a hard time finding different types of companies to come in, and a lot of times jobs are left unfinished for months.
It is.
And
it can be that way with the labor, and that can just be that way with the materials too.
Yeah.
We're ordering windows. At one point, we were having to order windows 14 weeks in advance. And so, for any other builder that's out there listening, they understand in spades what I'm talking about. And so, it's a lot of planning. We have to order windows before we even break ground.
Yeah. And builders that have houses that are finished, that are just sitting there, and they have to cover, the holes where the windows are supposed to go.
Yep.
So the house doesn't get damaged while they're waiting for the windows to come in, or they're closing homes that don't have cabinet doors. That's another thing I heard. They're like, normally you would never hear of that before, but people are just saying, I just want to move in. I don't really care if I have cabinet doors or not.
Right. Just when they get there, come and put them on.
And also in Florida, we're having an issue with swimming pool companies that build pools, because everybody from California and New York and all those other areas that got locked down, they decided that Florida looked like a pretty attractive place, and I want to go buy a big house and I want a pool in my backyard. So, and then people that live here that didn't want to have pool, that don't have pools, they wanted to put pools in. Everybody wants pools now. So there's a big shortage. So there's big holes in the back of people's yards that aren't getting, I mean, they might be a year or two out before they're even going to see a pool.
Yep.
It's crazy.
I think it's the same way with where we're at. Everybody headed for the lake. And so there's huge shortage of boats. Everybody wants a boat.
Oh, yeah. There was no boats around here either to buy.
So.
Yeah, we did the same thing. We went out and bought a boat during COVID.
It's a good place to be.
Yes.
On the lake.
Right. Hey, if we can't go out, we're at least going to be on the water and we're going to be happy.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Well, I love to see that you're doing that for your trades. I think it's so important, and just to have those relations, because you never know, what kind, hopefully we're not going to go, you never know a situation that might happen that just causes a shortage of something. And if you treat your people right, they're going to have that loyalty. And if they have to decide between, am I going to work for Trendsetters or am I going to work for this other builder over here? I only have time to do one. They're probably going to choose you.
Well, I can tell you that every day they have to make that decision. There's somebody in the office that has to say, I've got these 5 jobs lined up. Where am I going to send my guys today?
Right.
And if we can give them, strive to every time, give them, and that sounds simple, but it's not. Every time that they show up, the job is ready for them and everything they need to do, their job is there, and it's not happening in the other places, then hopefully we become the place where they say, today we want to go there because we know it's going to be ready for us.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. The third thing that you mentioned last night that really impressed me as well is we're going through a time right now, a lot of companies where we just witnessed the greatest resignation of all times, and it's happening every single industry. I know that a lot of my builder friends here in the area, not actually any company, any of my friends that own, whether it's a restaurant, a marketing company, it took me 100 interviews before I hired Megan. 100, crazy. So it's one of those things that a lot of businesses really need to be focusing really hard on culture and how, if I'm going to go through this, and scale my company, because it's expensive to do that. And it's a lot of work to bring people on. You need to have a really good plan of how are you going to retention is really key right now. Because other companies are coming in and, outbidding and poaching. And there's just so many things going on that a lot of us are very stressed out over. I mean, I know I've been a complete mess over the whole thing. And that's one of the things that keeps me up at night.
Yeah.
But I really loved some of the things that you're doing for your team internally. And just listening also, I'm going to bring your name up again, Ashton, but to hear her smile and her talk about all the things that she loved about working for Trendsetter Homes. And she was just smiling ear to ear and went on and on and on about all these things that you do for the employees. It made my heart. I was like, that's so awesome. And I want you to talk a little bit about, the kids coming into work. And, that was the other thing too, is what I was really impressed by is this is really hard. And I know the people that I'm interviewing for, I love having my people to come into work. I think it's important that you have that collaboration.
Work from work. Yep.
Right, but now nobody wants to come into an office. I think 65% of the labor market now are working from home. It's crazy. So you've come up with something where, Ashton was saying last night that we all love coming into work. Like we don't want to stay at home. We actually look forward to it. So talk to me a little bit about what you're doing to make these employees so happy and loving their job and wanting to come into work every day, because a lot of us are struggling with that.
Sure. And so I think one of the important things is our biggest line item is wages and any P&L. And turnover is the biggest risk to any company, in my opinion. And so you have to.
It's expensive.
It's very expensive.
Yes.
That's right. And so I just decided that instead of feeling that pain and recognizing that is a reality, if you don't change something, let's take that money and let's create an avenue by which we pour back into the employees, our team members, and create an environment that nobody ever wants to leave. And so we've been very focused, but all I feel like I've done is created a vision and then step back and given everybody the freedom to just breathe and enjoy just being there. And it is not a high stress environment. We work hard. There are good days and there are bad days and there are tough days. But we are we're a company that is all about having fun and enjoying what we do. And it was really cool for me also to hear Ashlyn last night.
She was
just
talk about
I love that.
Yeah, and one of the things that it really touched me was, yes, we do. If there's daycares that get shut down, so if several kids end up with COVID, then they have to shut the daycare down for the day. And so we've got some moms in the family that if the daycare is shut down, they're limited on options. And we're very flexible with, hey, if you need to work from home today, we are work from work, but we are flexible. So if you need to work from home today or the daycare shut down, we totally understand, and that is okay. What I heard Ashlyn say was that when given the choice of stay home with the kids, they are saying, hey, we would rather, can we bring our kid to work because we want to be at the office with everybody. And that also gave me goosebumps because that was really cool to hear.
Yeah. And also the fact that the kids enjoy coming in because they're bored at home.
Yep.
If it's just them at home by themselves, but now they get to go into the office when there might be a few other kids there, and they get that collaboration with other children because I feel so sorry for kids these days. I mean, there's so much depression, and they're lonely and they're frustrated. And the fact, and they have to stay at home. It's like they're by themselves or they're with their brother and sister, which they probably get sick of being around, But then they get it back, where they get to be with other kids. And that's just so important for kids today, to have that interaction with other children.
It is. And we have a lot of structure to our business, but we're not corporate. We're not corporate-y. And I grew up going to work with my dad in the summer.
Yeah.
As a young child. And I remember playing wiffle ball in the back warehouse all summer long and probably causing more problems than I didn't realized I was causing being there. But the opportunity for us to have a place where they can come and be able to be there with a parent and then have, and this is not every day. This is a rare occasion, but right now we're in unusual times to where it seems that it is a little bit more often right now. But we've got some really cool areas where they can hang out. We've got a really nice kitchen area, and they set up and put on a movie and color. And there's been some friendships made there with some very young kids that might not have otherwise been made, and it has worked for us. I don't know that it would work for everybody. But we've got an awesome team of people, and they're all really dedicated and bought into what we're trying to do at Trendsetter. And so
culture is important.
It is
part of your brand.
Awesome. And then those things just add fuel to the fire also, and allow people to know that, hey, I don't have to worry about what I'm going through maybe in my day-to-day personal life. I know that I can bring it to work and it's going to be okay.
Yeah, we're like that with dogs in my office.
Well, we've got one.
I'm the only, no, Deb has kids, but just graduated, but I have one kid. So my kids are all older, so they don't come around. Well, actually, they're working for me now. One in college and one's in high school, but she doesn't want to come around too much. They like to be on their own at that age. But what we found is, a big thing too with my interviewing, I found it interesting that another reason why people want to work from home, and this is true, like you saw me when I bought in Lexi today, I said, I'm going to be gone again tonight, and the dog gets depressed. She has nobody around her, especially when you're gone all night long. And these your dogs are so much part of the family that I think over the last couple of years they've gotten used to having more people around, or you're around working at home with them, and now all of a sudden you're gone back to work, and it causes emotional issues with the dog.
Yeah.
It does, really, because I see it with mine. So I told my employees, you can bring your dogs in. So there'll be some days in my office where there'll be 4 of them running around the office chasing each other around. It's really funny. But I'm like, hey, you can bring your dog in. But let me know if it's a, girl dog. You can bring, if you want to bring it in on Sundays, I'll leave Lexi at home the day that she comes in, but she gets along with the boy dogs fine. So we just let each other know what day we're bringing the dog in, so everyone knows, can have their time, or the dog can have their time to come into the office so it doesn't get, depressed.
Well, I understand that. I think we were fortunate in Missouri. We were deemed an essential business, so we actually never shut down through any of it, and we didn't have a group of people that experienced that bond that then they had to break away from.
Right.
We were able to maintain kind of a normal course of business. To
because
some
I think
degree,
when you have that, when we like that. I've found that when you have that separation, when they're not coming into work, and I remember for me, I was like, okay, it's time for you guys to come into work, and it was a little bit of some of people wanted to, some of them were in there working with me the whole time because they just didn't want to work at home. But other ones, I'm like, it's time for us to come back.
Yeah. And I would tell you that at my office, nobody misses me when I'm gone, but they want to know who's bringing the dog in. So I've been in Florida for 10 days, and I'm pretty sure that my dog has been at the office every day. My son, they set it up to where he was instructed to bring the dog to the office. So they don't care if they see me, but if Leo's not there, then there are issues.
Oh, that's so cute. I love that. Yeah, I mean, the culture thing is huge right now. Treating your employees right and letting them be part of the decision of, kind of what that culture is going to be like. I do that a lot with my team, is allow them to define the culture. And because I have a core team now that's been with me for a while. So it's really nice when I do have people interview. I'll interview them, but I'll be like, now you're going to have to come to a second interview because the team's going to talk to you. And then I basically let them decide. I'll say, I like them, but I'm not the one that has to work with them every day because I'm not in the office every day like you all are. So you all have to be comfortable with each other, and you can't have one bad apple, especially in a small company, because it's poison.
Yep.
That one person causes a lot of issues if they're not right.
For sure, yeah.
Yeah.
That's why hiring is taking the time.
Yeah, to do that.
So important. That's why you went through 100 interviews.
Yes.
I understand that.
100 interviews. I hate interviewing too. It's not my favorite thing to do.
I think the culture is it's a mix. It's not just allowing the kids to come in every once in a while when there's a school shut down, or doing lunches on Fridays. It's all of it, and you can't be a jerk when you're having a tough conversation and then buy lunch on Friday and think that that's going to make everything better.
Right.
It really is. For me, it was as my company grew, and when we rebranded, and then it took off, and we went from when I went from 50 in 2019, 2020 we went to 95 homes, and so we doubled, and then in 21 we went up probably 30% in revenue with the same number of homes because of inflation and some challenges with getting more units out. But what I found out is that I was really good at leading 5 people, but I was terrible at leading 30 people.
Right.
And so I've really gone on this journey of just what does it look like to lead people, and from the right place and the right frame of mind and the right heart. And I've been reading more books than I've ever read in my life, and just trying to understand, really what is it. Book that I would tell you probably has meant as much to me as anything is an older book, Good to Great, and talks about level 5 leadership. So anybody that's out there that is interested in,
we'll put a link in the podcast to the book.
It's a great book.
It's a tough, it's a big transition. I think they say, what is it for employee size? Like you have, when it's anywhere from like 2 to, I think the max is like 15 or maybe it's 20. I think like they might say that in the book, your family style, right? But when anything over 20, you can no longer manage family style any longer.
Nope.
It has to completely change. And I think we talked about it last night. Is that I think you're getting to move from like the 50 mark and up, or
We're
you're
at
planning
30.
for 50.
We're at 30, and we're hiring to 50 this year.
Yeah, so that's going to be
It's a different. I'm going to have to learn how to go from 30 to
because
30
that's
to
a whole
50.
nother culture change too, because you're adding even more people. And then I think what happens is you have to. It's more process that you have to put into play.
Yep.
So the more people, the more process, and it gets to me. I found because I notice when I'm smaller, you don't have to have as many processes in place.
Yep.
But and then your team that's with you, when you add more people, I think they probably struggle the most is the ones that have been with you the longest because they're used to not having a lot of process in place. And then when you have to put a lot more rules in, we have to go, follow this order. It takes a little bit for that to catch on.
It does, and we've tried to really have a growth strategy that is fun. We put a margarita machine in the office. Ashlyn one day was like, "Man, I wish I had a margarita." And 5 minutes later, I was on the computer. I go, "I found a margarita machine that I just ordered. It'll be here in a week." And so doing that, but we say the only constant that we have is change. And so if you have the mindset and the attitude that we're going to grow, and so if you're not pro growth and you're looking for something that's easy street, this isn't the right company for you. But if you're excited about change and you love fast pace and you love an aggressive growth model, this is a fun train to be on, and we're going to have a good time getting there, and we're going to work hard, and there's going to be a lot of accountability, and you're going to have to perform, but we can do all those things and have a blast doing it at the same time.
So as you plan to move from 30 to 50 people, what kind of things do you have in place to help you through that transition?
Well, we just made a hire, starts Monday, and we hired an HR person.
Okay.
And
Smart.
he has a background, his specialty is in recruiting.
I would love to have an HR person.
And I did, as I started walking through some of these leadership development things for me, I kept hearing over and over, really at 30 people, you really need to have, and I always thought, HR is this bad word where we've got this awesome environment and everything's going to change and you're going to have to walk on pins and needles from now on. And HR is about, people going and complaining. And no, that's really not what HR is if you find the right person. It's about establishing just, again, more systems and allowing people to feel like that they know that they have a safe place to come to work every day and still have a good environment. He is also a big promoter of the things that we're already doing. So he's another voice. He is going to be able to help us with that. But then also he knows, it was really cool through the interview process just to listen to him. And I was like, man, I feel like this guy's been here for 5 years already. He was like talking everything that, and so when I have somebody like that, I know that when he starts vetting the people that we want to hire, he's already in lockstep with the kind of culture that we want.
Perfect.
And so I'm super excited about that because, as you know, 100 interviews, it is a lot of time, and it's focused that we can put him in charge of that.
Yeah, because I was just thinking all that time I spent interviewing, I'm not working on growing my business.
Yep, you're working in it, not on it.
Yes, yeah. Ugh, frustrated all day long.
I understand.
Yeah, so I would love to. I think next time, even for me trying to hire a recruiter, there was nobody to recruit. They couldn't. My recruiters couldn't even find anybody. That's how bad it is here in the Tampa area to try to find marketing people.
I would say that it is slow. It is slow going everywhere, and we go through a lot of candidates. But when we find the right person and they fit in our environment, I really feel like that we've we've got an opportunity to really have long-term relationships.
Yeah. I think by having that HR person that they will help you put, the processes in place that they're used to managing that many people will help you quite a bit with that.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. I'm excited for him to get started, and so it's going to be an awesome year.
I love it. Well, great. Well, do you have any other advice for any, a home builder out there that might be looking to scale and thinking about going through some of the things that you're going through right now? What kind of advice would you give somebody?
Culture, I think, is the biggest thing. Take care of your subcontractors. If you've got a mindset that you're entitled and that you're the customer, I would just encourage you to think about it a little differently, and treat them in such a way that you become the builder of choice. As far as employees are concerned, if you're not the type of person that naturally enjoys having fun, find somebody that emulates the kind of culture that you want to have and put them in charge of creating that environment. Yes. And then it's not a light switch. It takes time. And then hire right. Be slow to hire.
Yep.
And
good
and
advice.
I think that anybody can get there. You have to be intentional about it. You have to be intentional about it every day, and it has to be important. So.
No, I love it. That's great advice. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. I think a lot of growing builders will get a lot from this podcast today. So thank you, Ryan. Appreciate your time.
Yeah, thanks. Appreciate it.
Thank you, everybody, for tuning into our show today. Don't forget to subscribe if you're watching YouTube. Also, if you are on any of the RSS feeds like Spotify, Apple, Facebook, listening to the podcast, please leave a review and leave a comment. We'd love to hear what you think. Thanks a lot and have a good day.
Second Soul Studios is a full-service production studio with capabilities for photo, video, podcasting, editing, co-working, and more. Our photo video studio has a number of different backdrop choices and props to choose from. We also have a gourmet kitchen set, or if you're an upstart podcaster, you'll love our 4-person podcast studio. So what are you waiting for? Visit secondsoulstudios.com to book a tour today.